You know, a lot of times people ask me why I stopped working with kids. And this is going to be a full detailed video about why. I first started working with kids when I was about 11 or 12 years old. From everything from activities to community service to extracurricular stuff. When I got in high school, I did a lot of community service. I did a lot of reaching back. I was a peer juror. In college, that's when I got into like teaching and being in the classroom and things of that nature. My first job out of college, I moved to the East Coast and I lived in Delaware for about a year. And I was a tutor, I was a math teaching assistant, I was a volleyball coach, I was a cosmetology instructor. And don't get me wrong, I love working with kids, and it is something that I absolutely love doing. I love kids, mostly because I don't have any and I can give them back. But let me just be like real transparent. Being in a classroom with kids is exhausting. I was 25 and I felt like I was going to work every day to raise other people's kids. I didn't like the lack of parent involvement. That really bothered me because it was just obvious to me that a lot of things weren't going on at home that were necessary for the classroom to be successful. Now, what I will say is that because of the type of person that I am and the way that I interact with kids, I didn't really have a hard time when it came to like discipline, but it's just like the little things that just kept adding up. Like, you have the parents who don't even like really put forth effort at home with their kids. Like, I get that, you know, kids are in situations where they go through stuff, and you know, although I might not have known their situation, it was obvious in the behavior of the child. But it's just like, I think dealing with the kids is not what I had an issue with. It was more so the adults that I had to deal with. Like, as far as parents, as far as like other staff, as far as like administrators, as far as like just other adults in general. Like, my alone time with kids was always amazing. Like, whether it was my tutees that I was spending time with, like, I love my kids. Let me be very, very clear. I love my kids. I still talk to them to this day. They still call me. We FaceTime. We do all of that. But the teaching field is just not for me. It's not. It doesn't pay enough. The stress is not worth the pay at all. Like, the majority of the money that you get, like, of course you take care of your necessities, but that go right back to your kids. Like, that's a 24-hour job. Like, I felt like I had no me time. I felt like I was always behind. I felt like I was always in go mode. Like, I just never had a time to just sit down, not have no kid or school or job related responsibilities that I had to take care of. And that's why when I left there, I just started looking at jobs that would be like, okay, when I go home, I'm leaving work at work, and work will not come home with me. It was one of those situations where working with kids allowed me to be as creative as I wanted to be when it came to extracurricular. I would love to do like community outreach. I would love to do like be an after school coordinator or something like that. I have a lot of ideas. I think very differently. Even though I had a volleyball team at the school that I was at, I had 25 girls to start with, and it ended up dwindling down to, I think, like maybe 15 or 18 or something like that. All of my girls were on honor roll. We had completely monopolized fundraising. We had end of the year activities. None of my kids paid for anything, and that's one thing that I will say. I didn't know the financial standpoint of the things that my kids was going through. So I made sure that whatever I wanted to do with my kids, I was able to do with my kids, and they would have to pay for nothing. They didn't pay for uniforms. They didn't pay for activities. They ended the year activities. When I took them go-kart racing, and that was $63 a person. Like, we went to a real go-kart racing place. Like, if those go-karts could have went any faster, we probably would have needed a license. Like, you low-key should have had a license anyway. But I took them go-kart racing. That was like $64 a person. I bought their uniforms. They had jackets, pants. They had bucket hats. They had color changing water bottles. They had a photo shoot at the end of the year. And then they end of the year banquet and like award ceremony. We had the patio of the Cheesecake Factory. And I think at the end of the year, that's the only time they paid for something. I just told them to put $10 for the end of the year banquet, but that all of the money that they gave, the $10, that was the tip for the waitress. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed that. Like, I enjoyed teaching my kids business skills and interpersonal skills and social skills, and showing them that, like, if you have time for extracurricular activities, you also have time for your grades to be on point. Like, I was very much so strict in that. And don't get me wrong, there were kids who were not on the roll when they first came. I didn't even have tryouts. I said, show me your grades. Your grades are your tryout. Now, for some people, they was perfectly fine. Other people, they had work to do. But every 2 weeks, I would give the teachers, every teacher got a grade report sheet. I don't want to know A, B, C, D. No, I want to see the percent. So that way, if I know that I have 4 kids that I'm working with as far as their grades are concerned, I can see, like, okay, 2 weeks ago, they had a 73. Now they have a 78. That shows me that they're trying. That shows me progress, you know. And it was a way for me to track that. But with all the stress that I had on me, it was just not something that I could continue to do. Like, here in Chicago, it's a lot of opportunities to work with kids, but given my work schedule and the things that I'm trying to do on a personal level that I have put to the side for so long, it's like now I'm finally taking that me time, and I do feel better. Like, I don't feel like I would be that much of service to kids if I am not of service to myself first. So I'm saying this to say I took a break. Okay, I do not plan to go back to teaching, although it is something I wouldn't mind. Like, okay, jump in, jump out, jump in, jump out. Okay, cool. You need help? Call me. Cool. I'm not sitting in class with you. But, you know, I would love to be in a school setting again. I've never been in a high school setting, like working with high school kids before. So that would be an adventure. That would be something that I wouldn't hesitate to jump in and try. But I love elementary school kids, and I just would like to get back into that, but more so on like a community outreach, extracurricular type of deal, if that makes sense. So this has been another small little tidbit and insight into who I am and what I like. If you like these videos, I will hope that you will give them a thumbs up, share them, subscribe, and there will be more videos to come. If you have been watching this whole week of getting to know me, thank you, thank you, thank you. And there are more videos to come, so stay tuned.